pili, nataka kuchukua nafasi hii kuwakaribisha wote. Ngawaje muda ilikuwa fupi ya kuwapatia notisi, lakini bwana CEO, ukitaka kujua where they are disciplined people, they are in Uasin Gishu. You can see the short notice, and you can see these are people of high responsibilities. They are not idle people, and they have said if it is Kara, they will be here, and they were here in time. Kwa hivyo nataka kuwashukuru sana kwanza kuchukua nafasi hii, nyinyi kuacha kazi yenu huko nje na kukuja kusema wacha tujenge nchi yetu na tujenge mji wetu kwa njia hii ya kukuja pamoja. Leo tumekuja ili tuweze kunena pamoja, kunong'onesana pamoja. Let's share, because we are now entering into a new dispensation of being called a city. We have been crying about it. We have been saying, why are we left behind? But now here is the time. But we cannot say that it has come without our input. And that's why we have come to say, the fact that we are seeing this baby coming, what are we saying about this baby? We have also preparations that we need to make. We have also questions to ask where we don't know what we don't know. So that's why we have our CEO here. I sit with him in the Nairobi panel in planning for Nairobi city. And I see them talk about sewages, talk about opening the roads, talking about all those things, slums. Bwana CEO, what we always talk about Nairobi, it has to be also here. So, thank you very much. I hope what Nairobi is will also be what Eldoret city is. It's actually a city. We're just waiting for the baptism. I don't know where the bishop is about to arrive and baptize our city. And we say it's a city. Am I right? Yes, I think you should have clapped for ourselves. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, on that note, we are expecting also our county officials, right from the governor, who is officially welcomed, and his entourage. Also, we have the municipality board, where I sit, and the chairman of the municipality board. By the way, and officially, Bwana CEO, this city to be has produced now the chairman of the chairman of the municipalities and cities boards. Just imagine that honor, that the country is represented from Uasin Gishu and Eldoret, and that's Mr. Julius, Honorable Julius Ketur. He's supposed to be with us, but he's also on very tight schedules concerning our expected visitors in the county, and that's the Council of Governors. That's also an opportunity for us. You can see how blessed we are as a city to be. So, on that note, and with those opening remarks, I want to say each one of you is welcome. Feel at home. Feel yourself. Feel that you are the owner. And you have come here because of who you are and what you want us to be. Please, the more you talk it out, the more we shall help the Kara head office also to come in and guide us also in one way or another. Am I clear? So thank you very much. We'll not waste time, but we have some board members coming. The chairman has asked me to step in. When it comes to his time, I will also step in to say something on his behalf of what he wants to say as the chairman of the county municipal board and also the chairman of the chairman. I stand here. Sorry, I was going to introduce myself last. My name is Richard Etiango Manyala. I am your representative in the municipality board as a director through Kara. So in that board where I sit, I am also honored to be the chairman of the County Municipal Board Audit Committee. So you see, we are very well represented. So I thank you for coming and keeping time. And I hope we shall have a good plenary. And each one of us will have chance to talk. I'm always very disciplined because I also work in the judiciary, in the High Court, as a High Court mediator. And for us, we say the discipline is, when he is talking, let us give him the ears. And when you talk, he gives us also the ears. So when one talks, let us listen. When one talks, let us give him the chance. And in that way, we shall be very much in order and understand each other. So thank you very much. I will want us to take a short introduction. Short introduction. Just your name. And if you have an organization, purposely I've said, if you have an organization for the sake of our CEO, to know who are these people. Just your name. My name is Omanyala. I'm from Kara. Full stop. That will be a very good honor to us, to our CEO. Kindly, let us take the shortest chance. Or it will take a lot of time. Okay, those who will be speaking, when you will speak, you will say who you are. I like that guidance. Is that okay? So that we go into the agenda which we have, eh? Okay. Time. You see, it will take 1 hour. So because we want to listen more, we'll know each other, isn't it? Yes, thank you. And on that note, I want us to go directly, but before we go directly, I would like just our CEO to greet us. Just to greet us. He will have his time. When I see you, welcome. Utusalamie.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Habari ya asubuhi. I'm happy to see you here very early in the morning. Like Omanyala has said, you are not here because you are idle. You are here because you know why you are here. Na vile raisi huwa anasema, mko hapa kimaksudi. You decided to be here and are not here because you had nothing to do. And we are happy about that. My name is Henry Ochieng. I'm the CEO of Kara. That's the Kenya Alliance of Resident Association. And we are happy to have this conversation today because we know that through this kind of platforms, we are able to share our views, we are able to share our ideas, and come to an agreement on what is good for us as a county and as a country. So Kara is an umbrella body of resident associations across the country. Our interest and our point of focus is to make sure that we organize communities at the neighborhood level. So that pale unaishi, whether you're staying in an estate or staying in a particular neighborhood, you get organized in a way that can be able to impact positively on your agenda as neighbors and as people of a particular neighborhood. So as Kara, we look at how best we can be able to engage with people at that level, and how you can be able to provide opportunity for you to be able to address your service delivery issues. Because at the end of the day, we all want a life of dignity. We all want to live in a place that we are proud of. And we can only do that if we are organized. Hakuna mtu atakuja kwa estate yako ama kwa neighborhood, for instance, sweep your compound or maintain your environment or ensure that you have security. You must start that conversation so that as you engage the people who have that responsibility in government, they can also see that you are organized and you know what you want and you are very clear on how to go about it. So, my brother Omanyala, umesema ati nimekuja Eldoret mara mbili. I think that is not true. I've been here so many times. Tumekuwa hapa mara mingi, hata wakati wa election, we had the governor's debate, we've done so many things. So, mimi si mgeni hapa. I think I know a number of you, we've interacted, and we'll continue interacting because the Constitution talks about public participation. And you can't participate if you're not organized. You know, huwezi sema ati now we want to do public participation na kila mtu anaingia anasema mambo yake, kila mtu anaingia, they don't even know what is expected of them. So the first point of public participation is for community to get organized in a structured way and in a way that they can come together and say, this is our position, this is our interest, and this is what we are going to push for as a community. Because in the absence of that, itakuwa tu kelele. It will just be noise, everybody talking here. And if you've understood something about our friends in government, they are very careful and they are very keen. Wakiona ni kama amuna mwelekeo, you are not speaking in one voice, everybody just saying what they want to say, they just ignore you. Wanasema these are just a bunch of noisemakers. But when you appear there, we say, we are the resident of Uasin Gishu. This is our vehicle. This is our structure. And these are our issues. Nobody in their right mind will ignore you because they know the repercussion. Apart from being voters, you can also be able to take measures. And Constitution provides for many measures, including peaceful demonstration, including petitions, including even recalling your leaders and telling them you are not happy with you. We want to recall you so that, but there's a recall clause in our Constitution, but we've not been able to use it very well as citizens. So these are options available to us as citizens of this country, and our leaders are very much aware. And that's why when they see us getting organized, when they see us speaking with one voice, they listen. But if they see us not speaking with one voice, they ignore because they know they're able to play around with you and make sure that you are not actually making an impact. So today we are here to talk about a very interesting subject. And let me start by congratulating the residents of Uasin Gishu and the residents of Eldoret Municipality for taking the bold step and for pushing for elevation of the municipality to a city status. Tupigeni makofi tafadhali. Not to say that being a city is the absolute and it's all rosy, but at least it is a positive step in the right direction because there's so many things that come with being a city. There's so many opportunities. There's so many benefits that come with being a city. And by getting to that level, you'll be able to see a very huge difference in terms of even the investment that is coming to this place, in terms of the kind of interest that you are attracting even globally. Because when you mention that you are a city, everybody wants to pay attention and say, what is it that we can do with this city? And how can we work with them? So it is a step in the right direction. I know Nakuru just did theirs a while back. And we were there and we had a very robust conversation about Nakuru city and what it means for them. And I can tell you they are very excited to be a city. And they're already reaping the fruits of being a city. So even as you get to the last step of being elevated to a city, I think it is important for you as a resident of Uasin Gishu to really understand what it means. Because as ingine wanasemanga, my people perish because of, kama haujui, you will not benefit. And there's no thing as bad as, there's no bad thing as ignorance. So you can be a city, but itawapita tu hivyo because hauelewi what it means to you. So you must understand what is the difference between what you are right now as a municipality and what you will be as a city. What are these opportunities? What are these things that are coming that you can be able to tap in at your individual level and also as an organized community? Because everybody has a role to play and everybody has something to gain from this. So you must, first of all, start by understanding what is the meaning of being a city, what are the opportunities, what are the benefits, and how can you position yourself as a resident of Uasin Gishu, as a resident of Eldoret, to make sure that you are part and parcel of that conversation. You give input, you participate, but most importantly, you also see from whatever you are doing, whether you're a businessman, whether you're a civil servant, whether you are a private sector player, how does it affect you? And how do you align yourself so that you can be able to enhance or further your interest as an individual and as communities? that's the reason we thought that it was important that you have this conversation, so that by the time we are getting to that point of being declared a city, you already understand how you are going to align yourself and how you are going to engage with that particular process. So as Kara, one of the things we do is that across the country, we provide platforms for people to engage and just talk to their leadership, talk to experts, talk to people who can be able to share information that is useful to them. But we also appreciate that nobody has monopoly of information, or nobody has monopoly of ideas. And that's why we normally make these platforms conversational, so that we're not saying that it's just one way kind of conversation, but we interact, we talk, we share our ideas, and we are able at the end of the day to come up with a very clear way forward on what we want and what is good for us. So today we put together a panel that is going to engage us. And like Omanyala said, we did invite the Office of the Governor. So we hope they'll still be here. I'm told the team from the municipality are also on the way. But in the interest of time, we needed to start so that we can be able to get into the conversation. So we already have Joseph Omolo-Dolly, who is head of secretariat at Uasin Gishu CSO Network, will speak to us. We are expecting Professor Mulongo and also representative from the county government. But I think what is important, like I've said, is for you to also share your views. I don't want to assume that everybody is happy with the fact that we are moving to a city. Maybe there are some of you who think that it's a wrong move. Feel free to say your bit so that you can be able to really understand what you are saying. And for those of you who are happy with it, also share your views, share your ideas on even how to make sure that whatever is happening in terms of moving to a city is actually going to be beneficial. Because you can still be declared a city, but then if people are not vigilant and people are not vibrant, nothing changes. You still behave like a municipality. So it's up to all of us to really make sure that it works for us, make sure that we understand what it means for us, and make sure that we are supporting and even getting engaged in various steps and various processes that comes with this aspect of being a city. Lastly, I started by saying that it is important for people to speak with one voice and to get organized in their community. As Kara, we are always happy and keen to work with people to make sure that they are forming a resident association, they're using resident association as a vehicle to engage on their issues, and ultimately they're seeing the benefit and the fruit of having those resident associations. So we are here today. I know there are a number of you who are already actively involved in the resident association where they live. Some of you perhaps don't know how to go about it. Some of you maybe they have, but it is not very active. One of the things that I'll be happy to handle today is to talk to those who are already having the resident association and engage you on how to make it vibrant, but most importantly, invite you to be a member of Kara. Because the strength of Kara relies on the number of resident associations that we have and the people that we are working with on board. So if you are not yet a member of Kara, I want to invite you to come on board as a member, and I'll be happy to talk to you about that and take you through the steps. If you wish to form a resident association and you don't know how to go about it, again, we are happy to have that conversation, because we have an arrangement with the Register of Societies under which this kind of formation are registered, and we can be able to take you step by step up to the point you have a registered, functional resident association that can work for you. So let's engage in that conversation maybe at the end, and I'll be happy to respond to your questions. I'll be happy to guide you and just work with you to make sure that we as residents of Eldoret, residents of Uasin Gishu, are actually appreciating the need to form citizen structures that can then be used to engage on various service delivery processes. So ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to take much time because we have a very interesting conversation ahead of us. So I just want to thank you again for creating time to be here, and we look forward to really engaging and sharing ideas as people of Uasin Gishu. Asanteni sana, and let's get going with the conversation. Thank you very much.
I think that's not enough. That's not enough. Let's appreciate the CEO. 1, 2, 3, funga, fungua. Thank you very much. I hope now we are at par. We are now at par with information why we are here. At this point, I want us to go straight because of time. We expected almost everybody to be a guest speaker. But on behalf of us, we have 2 or 3 members of our own that we zeroed down to say, let them give us their own remarks, and then we shall build on that. Within the plenary, we shall all be speaking. As for now, I want to call upon Bwana Joseph Omolo Doli. Joseph Omolo Doli is the head of Secretariat Uasin Gishu CEO's Network. And it's a large, wide network that brings and encompasses many areas of organizations. Bwana Doli is one of our own, and we know him. Kindly welcome.
Asante. Thank you, Senior Richard Omanyala. My name is Joseph Doli from the Uasin Gishu Civil Society Network, head of the Secretariat. I'm also a business person in this town of Uasin Gishu, and I'm also a consultant, development consultant on matters, community development. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Kara in association with the Ants Sedel Foundation for bringing us together so that we can share as residents of Uasin Gishu on matters development. Of course, development, it is, a multi, sectoral, animal. And for us to actually actualize the development realms, we must actually bring all the development actors together. And that is why we are here to speak about the issues of development in our city. I want to start by quoting this very great man who is an American poet by the name Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman, who actually said some years back that a great city is that city which has greatest men and women. Just a simple line. A great city is a city which has the greatest men and women. So the question now comes back to us. Do we have great men? Do we have great leaders? Do we have great women in our county? And the answer is yes. So the gratitude goes to Kara for the provision of this platform, for the engagement of the various stakeholders in the development realm in Uasin Gishu County. And of course, we know that public participation is a very key, provision in the Constitution of Kenya. It instills the national values and principles of governance as stipulated in Article 10 of our Constitution. So we therefore thank Kara for the advancement of this clause, since this platform will enable us as the citizens and the residents, leaders of this county to air our views on matters governance and on matters economy. So I just maybe take one minute to say what we do as the civil society of Uasin Gishu. So the Uasin Gishu Civil Society is a network of of all the non-state actors from the from the spheres of Uasin Gishu. So we exist to provide strategic direction and leadership to ensure that we have good governance, we have accountable leadership, and we have sustainable development through collaborative partnership. And of course, it is good to recognize some of the membership of our network. Just maybe by show of hands, if you are a member of the network of Uasin Gishu, just maybe thank you, even Mr. Omanyala here. Yeah, so thank you so much. And our members dispense their services, through organized thematic teams. We have, organizations which dispense their services on matters environment. We have, environment and climate change. We have CSO dealing on issues of health, water, sanitation. We have some of us who deal, on matters governance, human rights. Others dispense their activities on advancement of education for all. So our goal is to provide space for collective action around shared interest, because everyone wants to have a better society. So our common goal or our common interest is actually to have an empowered society. So our vision is to see that our society and community at large is being empowered for sustainable development. So today we are honored to sit in this round table with other development partners and the county and the municipality leadership to speak about the elevation of our municipality into a fifth city in the Republic of Kenya. So I want to pose this question to all of us. Is our municipality ready to, is our municipality ready and fit to be elevated into the fifth city in the Republic of Kenya? Are we ready to be elevated? Yes. So the answer is resounding yes. So this is a smart city, right? So this city is a city where human beings, us as the human beings, the trees, the birds, all the animals can grow with love, beauty, dignity, freedom, and equality, regardless of all our imperfections, right? This city is the capital of North Rift. This city is the capital of North Rift. And for those who understand the history of this city, of course, I can see some senior, members, Menjo and the others. This city came into being as a result of agriculture. Then it actually transformed itself into an industrialized city, of course, by then. And now, for us to, to reach at the apex of development and now be termed as a city, there are so many things, of course, which are supposed to be put in place so that now we actualize our aspiration of saying that, of course, this is now a city and we are now enjoying the fruits of this city. So Eldoret is a logistics hub, being one of the few towns in Kenya with international airport, right? Of course, these are now the good attributes by default as the city or as the municipality by default. What is our status? So this is a city which is actually, known for its logistics hub. We have the Kenya International Airport. We have the railway lines, right? Eldoret is a gateway route to the Northern Transit Corridor and also a gateway to the East African community with a population of 300 million people. So you can just, equate the human investment in terms of the numbers, because 300 million people in the East African community, that is human investment. You can, that is economic value, of course, in terms of business. So Eldoret is a fast growing hub for Noreb counties due to its investment opportunities. Eldoret town has a very great potential in agriculture. It has the highest ratings from investors interested in agricultural value addition, particularly maize, avocado, macadamia, because of its favorable climate conditions. Of course, we are a plateau area, so the climate is very favorable. That aside, education, this city is an hub of education because we are hosting a number of internationally recognized universities and colleges. And these universities and colleges, they offer, services of research, writing grants for the advancements of education. Eldoret City is a medical services hub, of course, with the MTRH being the leading. Of course, it has enhanced other opportunities in medical services, making it to be one of the busiest medical centers in Kenya, because at the moment, almost all the services which are offered in mainstream, bigger hospitals in Europe, kidney transplants, they are being done at our medical facilities. In regard to housing, I can say that this town, we have sufficient and developed and undeveloped land. And this land, of course, they are going to actually, give us, if we extend this land, to the investors, they are going, to use it, to actually host some of their, their businesses. And also, this town is a beneficiary of the low-cost housing schemes from the national government, because at the moment, I think we are expecting close to 200 units in the first phase, from the national housing scheme. Then, of course, we are the city of champions in terms of sports and athletics. Of course, you can now coin that and link it with sports tourism. So this is an area which, if we tap it well, we will get local revenue, of course, and this is going to sustain us as a means of investment in terms of infrastructural development. So the World Bank ranked Eldoret as one of the investment hubs across the country concerning the ease of doing business. At the moment, if you look at the county finance bill, of course, it is favorable to the to the business community. Of course, they have their flaws, and at the moment we have public participation geared towards rectifying those flaws in the county finance bill. So since the inception of devolution, more than 200 major investments have been commissioned, and we have seen upcoming entrepreneurs being uplifted through good county policies like Inua Biashara Fund, County Cooperative Societies Fund, SACCOs, and organized groups through the enterprise development. And the main aim of having the county funds, of course, is to ensure that traders are supported so that they can expand their businesses and create more jobs and opportunities. Of course, we have seen the tarmac roads being done. We have seen, modern street lightings, of course. We've seen the improvement of stormwater drainage. And of course, for those who have gone to, to the Arboretum, you will see some, some development there. Of course, we've also seen the River Sosiani being rehabilitated to host, to serve as a nature center. And these are, some of the small activities which are giving us hope that we are moving to the right. So if we will be granted the charter, and we know that we will be granted the charter, so this county will benefit a lot from the national government grants. Yeah, because we will have the increased allocation, and the county government will now use those funds to develop its infrastructure. And who is going to benefit? We are the ones who are going to benefit as the residents of this town. When we benefit, we are going to now increase our economic value. And when we increase our economic value, this means the county will now tap and increase its revenue base. So the main opportunity is that we will have a chance and opportunity to progress ourselves, to develop ourselves because of the funding from the national government. Number two, more investors will come because the city will now be, a modern city. They are going to come and bring in their investments. This will actually increase our capacity as the residents of this county to actually enjoy the benefits of this city. Lastly, I want to touch on the challenges, because currently we have the shortcomings. It will not be good to just say that we are moving in the right track. Of course, we are moving in the right track. There are some steps, and programs and policies put in place, but we have some shortcomings. So these shortcomings needs to be addressed as fast as possible. Number one is shortcomings in the security sector. Of course, we need to enhance our security, especially when we are nearing the devolution conference. We have a challenge on the street families. Of course, the county government has done something. Of course, we are not seeing the number of the street children being high, but this, those who are still on the street, they need to be rehabilitated and brought, back to their families. We have a big challenge on uncontrolled traffic, especially when it rains on a Friday. I don't know why people wanakimbia sana Fridays. So we have this menace of uncontrolled traffic. We have an issue on environmental and climate change, and how we deal with the climate change and its effects in our county. Of course, we've seen some activities being done from the Department of Environment. Of course, especially on afforestation. We are alive that they are planting, they have managed to plant close to 200,000 trees or seedlings at the moment. Of course, we need to applaud that. And the dumping site is actually almost full, but we are also alive that the county government through municipality have purchased land at Sirikwa, around 20 acres, which is now going to be used as a dumping site. And that is going to be a smart technology whereby the gases which are going to be, to be, omitted from the dump site, they're going to be captured and redefined. we have another challenge of unmet levels of own revenue, because the county is collecting, paltry 900 million, and we have the capacity of collecting close to 200 billion. Yeah, so the county needs to review and come up with strategies on how they can, increase their own local revenue collection. We also have another challenge on water and sanitation and storm water, especially for those people who are staying in the lowland. When it rains, we have a lot of water coming from the islands. So this water needs to be directed well. And then lastly, the central business market. We need to have that central business market, which will enable the small traders to market their wares at all the times. And the market should be within the vicinity of the traders, so that they can now, they cannot spend more to have their goods, reach to the customers or reach to the consumers. So as the civil society, we are the actors of development, and we are saying that we will work with other development partners to actually advocate and make sure that all the residents of this town, they enjoy the benefits and they tap into the opportunities which will come as a result of this town being declared a city. So with all those many remarks, I want to say thank you, and let us feel free to engage. Asanteni sana.
Tumpigie makofi tena. Si ameongea kwa niaba yetu yote. Pengine hajasema yote yenye tungetaka aseme, lakini si amegusia. Ikifika wakati wetu wa plenary, we shall now build on that. That was the purpose of giving him to say a keynote. I want to say we are privileged to have your own representatives, members of the board. I can see one of them has walked in. Kindly stand to in. You are a unique figure because this is one of your members of the board who sits in the board tackling your matters. We are privileged to have our county municipality manager. Our county municipality manager, I'm sure, even seated here, he has left a packed office, but he has honored my call to say, please come. This is a person who I don't know whether he has time to sleep, because at times we sit together planning these issues of becoming a city, and we burn fuel throughout the night if things have to work. Up to where we are, this is the person behind the wheel. Sometimes we even say we give him room even to breathe, but there's no room. Titus Koyet has the burden of taking us through to the next step. I've requested him just to come because he has the host of the A's and B's, the pros and cons of us becoming a city. At this point, I would request him, because he has no time, to come and tell us in brief. I know he will not tell us much. If he has to talk, he will talk until tomorrow of all the plans that are there. But he can tell us in brief, are we on the track? Kindly welcome Tito.
Thank you very much, Director Omanyala, one of the members of the board of the Municipality of Eldoret. All the distinguished guests, the CEO of CARA, Professor Mulongo, who has been one of the committee members, the ad hoc committee members for the conferment of city status, to Eldoret, Professor Omondi, my good friend and one of the greatest friends of Eldoret, Mr. Ayot Walter, a member also of the board of the Municipality of Eldoret. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As you've heard, my name is Tito Koyet. I'm the manager for the Municipality of Eldoret. And let me say that I feel very privileged this morning to be here with you on this very important conversation that you're having on the opportunities that we should expect once Eldoret is elevated to a city status. Let me thank very much Kara for this, for the decision to come to Eldoret. I know Kara has been very active in Nairobi, but I also know Kara has been active in Eldoret, probably unlike many other towns in Kenya. You're in the right place. When a CEO of Kara, you're in the right place. And I think we are all at the right place in history, or at the right place in time. We are privileged to be alive in our country today because of so many reasons. I think as a country, we are going through a lot of transitions. And as a county, we are also going through very tremendous transitions. And very serious decisions are being made in our county. The board of the Municipality of Eldoret, like Mr. Omanyala has said, arrived at a decision to elevate Eldoret to city status sometimes last year. And as you may be aware, it's a whole process. The law provides for a very clear process on the elevation of any urban area in Kenya to become a city. Under Article 184 of the Constitution of Kenya, a provision is made for the enactment of a statute or a law that would provide for the governance and management of urban areas in Kenya, noting the challenges that urban areas have. As a result of that, within 1 year of the promulgation of the Constitution of Kenya of 2010, Urban Areas and Cities Act was enacted as one of those laws which needed to be enacted within 1 year of the promulgation of the Constitution. That tells you that the crafters of the Constitution of Kenya realized the importance of putting in place structures to govern urban areas in Kenya. That's where Kara comes in. And therefore, Urban Areas and Cities Act number 13 of 2011 was enacted, which provides for the governance of urban areas in Kenya. It was revised in 2019 under number 3 of 2019, Urban Areas and Cities Amendment Act of 2019. Not much changes. Mostly it affected the governance structures and the inclusion of certain members of the county executive in the board of urban areas. And for Eldoret as a municipality, we have a representation from Kara. I think you're already aware of that. Mr. Omanyala is actually a representative of neighborhood associations, and he sits in the board on that. Now, there are 3 to 4 levels of management of urban areas in Kenya. The first one is market centers. The second one is towns. The third one is municipalities. And the fourth one is cities, with very elaborate procedures on how to arrive at all those structures. And when it comes to municipalities, there's a process similar to that of becoming a city and that of becoming a town, except that there are a few small differences. In the case of becoming a municipality, for example, the governor appoints a committee which looks at a particular urban area, evaluates its viability according to the law, and those provisions have been provided. And upon his satisfaction that an urban area meets the requirements to become a municipality, he will grant a charter. So municipalities are granted charter by governors. Cities, however, are granted charters by the President of the Republic of Kenya. So, after the creation of the ADO committee, which is clearly elaborated in Section 8 of Urban Areas and Cities Act, with whom to form the membership, I mentioned that Professor Mulongo was part. He was representing the planners, the Institution of Planners of Kenya. We have a member from the Architectural Association of Kenya. We have a member from the Institute of Surveyors of Kenya. We have a member from the Law Society of Kenya. We have a member from ISPAC, that is Institute of Certified Accountants of Kenya. We have a member from the business community. We have members from various professional associations. So the work they do is independent and of high integrity. So when the ADO committee completed its report, they handed over to the governor, who in turn approved or adopted the report at his executive level, that is the cabinet, and then forwarded it to the county assembly. The county assembly interrogates that report and makes a decision on whether or not they think the report is sufficient, upon which they make a decision on whether to return it to the executive or forward it to the clerk of county of Senate. And so in our case, our county assembly approved the report and they forwarded it to Senate. As we speak, that report is at Senate. The Senate Committee on Urban Areas and on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations has had a look at the report, and soon it's going to be tabled on the floor of the House for adoption. If that is done, and we are very hopeful that will be done, then the Speaker of Senate or the Clerk of Senate is going to write to His Excellency the President communicating the approval of the elevation of Eldoret to a city. As we speak, last evening, or yesterday actually, the Director of Urban Development in the State Department for Housing and Urban Development called me, requesting me to provide him with certain information. As you are aware, when these things are done, there is a lot of background information that is going on. One of which, of course, is the drafting of the charter and the review of all the legal steps and statutes that need to be ascertained before the grant of charter. And therefore, we think with that request, I trust that there is some background information that is going on that indicate that Eldoret is going to be granted charter to become the 5th city in the Republic of Kenya. Beyond that, I think you're aware that sometimes back the cabinet sat and actually recommended the elevation of Eldoret to become a city. So I would want to believe that we are simply going through a formality or a formal process which must be followed for the elevation of Eldoret. You remember cities like Eldoret, cities like Kisumu were granted the city status through presidential decrees. The same with Mombasa, and of course, naturally, being the capital of Kenya, Nairobi was our city. So, Mr. Dolly has made a very good presentation here. In fact, he should have actually been the one concluding the conversation on the advantages of elevating Eldoret into a city status, because in my view, he has covered very critical issues. I would only want to, on a very high level, inform you that I think and I believe the county is prepared and ready to have Eldoret elevated to city status. I think the residents of Eldoret, from the presentations that we received, and we received about 90% support in making Eldoret a city, I think they are ready to make Eldoret a city. However, of course, we have challenges. And these challenges are urban challenges. They come from different directions and different quarters. But the most critical aspect of this whole question is funding. It is money. It all boils down to money. I can assure you that the board of the Municipality of Eldoret has done what it has to do to be able to provide the governance and the guidance that Eldoret needs to supply or to give the services to the people of Eldoret as required for an urban area. The first thing that anybody is required to do under the law is to develop what we call Urban Integrated Development Plan. An Urban Integrated Development Plan is a cascade of the National Development Plan. Now, at the national level, we have the National Development Plan. At the county level, we have the County Integrated Development Plan. At the municipal level, we have the Urban Integrated Development Plan. Now, it is on the basis of that that any board is expected to provide services and guidance and allocate budgets and resources to any urban area. But I'm sure you know that there are certain challenges, teething challenges that have been with us for quite a while, which we are slowly but surely managing to address. I want to state this, that I think we are very privileged to have the current administration in the county government of Uasin Gishu, led by the current governor, His Excellency Jonathan B. He has a manifesto called Nguzo Kumi. And Nguzo number 10, or Nguzo number Kumi, is actually Municipality of Eldoret. That is a clear demonstration of his desire to ensure that Eldoret gets the services, the people of Eldoret get the services that they deserve. And this has been demonstrated through his very close working relationship with the board and also with the chairman and myself as the municipal manager. As we speak, Eldoret is, unlike so many other municipalities, Eldoret has a budget. A lot of municipalities in Kenya do not have budgets in their urban areas. Eldoret has its municipal manager designated as the holder of an AIE, or the accounting officer, or the chief executive officer of the municipality. That has already been done. What does that mean? That we are able to transact, we are able to plan, we are able to budget, we are able to allocate our budgets for the priorities that the board has identified. And that we've been doing for the last few years. In fact, the municipality of Eldoret has been the holder of the largest budget, although most of it was supported by donors, but we have had a budget of about 1.4 billion shillings, which we have very diligently executed and implemented, and our average disbursement has been at over 90%. In fact, our last disbursement, for those who understand, was at 95%. That is for the 2022-2023 financial year. Our disbursement was at 95%. That is unprecedented in a government environment. We have in our Eldoret, Uasin Gishu in general this time, had the highest disbursement level of 76%. In government, a 76% disbursement is like some kind of magic. It's like a miracle. So I can assure you that we are on course and we are in the right direction in the municipality of Eldoret as well as the county government of Uasin Gishu. Mr. Dolly raised a number of issues which I'd like to just highlight. And let me do it at a very high level. What are we doing then as a municipality? One, our biggest priority is to improve the quality of life of the people of Eldoret. We'd like people to have access to services. We'd like people to have pride in their town through the services that we provide. Hence, our priority on critical issues. In our view, a modern African city must be a green city. And so, we have been doing everything that we can to green our city, to grow trees, we have done an arboretum, we are creating more green spaces within our town, and we are managing those spaces so that our people can be able to find environments where they can relax. What else are we doing? We are doing drainages. We have a dedicated team now that is available to maintain drainages. We are budgeting for the improvement of drainages within the CBD. Under Kenya Urban Support Program Phase 2, our priority number 1 is a central business district. And what we'd like to do is to improve the drainage in our town. But we want to use that as a single bullet that solves many challenges. Apart from drainage challenges that we have, you have noticed that our town is not as walkable as it should be within the CBD. If you're walking down Rolangala, for example, and you're on the pavement, and you're a person with disability, and it is raining, you cannot move down our pavements. Because from one building to the other one, there are either steps which are very steep, or there is no step at all. So we want to address that. We want to create a transition between the pavements and the road. In other cities, in other modern cities, you will not notice where the drainages are. And recently, last year when we went to South Korea, I demonstrated that to His Excellency the Governor. So we'd like to spend our resources in improving the CBD, and particularly a user experience. We want an old person to walk into a shop freely. We want a young person or a baby to walk into a shop freely. We want a disabled person to walk in freely without any challenges in crossing the drainages. So what are we going to do? We are going to close all the drainages. We are going to provide for ducts, for fiber optics, and we are going to create a seamless transition between the road and the pavement. We are also going to make the pavements smooth so that you can walk freely. As you are aware, we are already talking with investors and landlords to ensure that we put the right kind of signages in our buildings. The law is very clear on the type of signages that we need to have in place. And some of them have constituted what we call illegal structures. And so we are working with them to ensure that we only enact signages which are good and friendly for the pedestrians. More than 90% of the people of Eldoret actually walk. But you know, we have this habit in Africa where we build our cities for vehicles instead of building cities for people. We want to make parking available, yes, but we want the majority of the people who walk our streets to have a beautiful experience. Right now, we are working with business owners to ensure that all their wares, you've noticed that our town these days looks like the streets are too narrow. The main reason is that people prefer to sell on the pavements instead of selling inside the buildings. So we are telling these people, please sell from inside your building. We want our people to walk their pavements freely, to do their window shopping, and walk into your shop to buy if they think they have seen something that they like. So we are working on that, walkability and the greenery of our town. We have very advanced plans on that regard. We are also, of course, paving our towns. As you are aware, we have done more than 20 kilometers, about 20 kilometers of road since we were funded by the World Bank. So in the industrial zones, within the CBD, in the residential areas, in the informal settlements, we have tried to distribute resources in such a way that we benefit the majority of the people. Number 3, street lighting. This has been one of the biggest challenges in Eldoret. We have 4,000 installed streetlights in Eldoret, but only 50% of them are working. That is about 2,000 of them. Now, when you look at the cost that we have to pay Kenya Power for 2,000 lights, which hardly work, because we have natural challenges like maintenance of those streetlights, like vandalism of those streetlights. What are we going to do? The potential for Eldoret is actually 10,000 streetlights. So we have come to a conclusion that we actually need to bring in a private investor, where possible, to install solar streetlights. If possible, even set up a plant where they can generate electricity from solar and distribute it across our town. And so we are looking at it this way. We need to do the entire CBD, which requires about 6,000 streetlights. We need to light our town as you're coming in and going out. So we have mapped from the airport to town, from Cheplaskei to town, from Naiberi through Kipkorgot to town, Ilula, from Jagir to town, Chepkanga to town, Kuinet to town, Kiplombe to town. On the highway, we are going as far as Moi Barracks, and we are also going all the way to Cherame, which most people call they call Juakali, and also on the road to Ndalat. So that when you are flying into Eldoret at night, you would see a beautiful place. If we light our town, and we have 99% availability of those lights in our towns through maintenance by a private individual, we'll be able to enhance several things. One, we will enhance business, and therefore our economy will boom. Security in our town will be assured. So people will be able to move freely whatever time of the night it may be. Number three, it improves the aesthetics of our town. I know we have had a few challenges. People have been talking about the bad eye, the cat's eye street lights which were installed the other day. These are things that we are trying to address the immediate challenges. But right now we are having a conversation with the cabinet secretary for treasury. In fact, he'll be receiving a letter by the end of the day today on a proposal for us to do that. And we already have an investor to do that. So we want to solve this problem once and for all, because we believe that we need to address challenges with permanent solutions. We don't want band-aid solutions to these challenges. Now, I'll not talk about roads because Mr. Dolly mentioned that. We are doing everything possible to improve on our roads. We have already identified a number of roads in the town which we are going to build. And we don't want to just build roads. As we build our roads, we improve our drainages. Every road must have covered drainages. It's a resolution that the board has passed that no road within the CBD should be built without two things: enhanced drainage system and a walkway. Preferably covered drainages which provide the residents with the freedom to walk. We also need to green those streets. As we are designing them, we need to provide for water and to provide for green spaces and to provide for what we call street furniture, where people can relax as they carry out their business here and there. There is the issue of the market. I think you've heard His Excellency the Governor mention this, and let me take this opportunity also to say that we are at a very advanced stage in the construction of the market, at a very advanced stage in terms of design. That structure is going to accommodate between 8 and 10,000 people. And we want all our small and medium enterprises in mostly the Juakali industry to find space. We want the Juakali people to find a place to display their goods and sell their goods there. We want the tailors and those who make clothes to have space there. We want the Mamamboga to have a space there. We want those who sell cereals to have space there. We want those who sell cutlery and sufurias and stuff like that to have space there. We want to have banking halls. We want to have M-Pesa services. In other words, we want to have a one-stop shop for the residents of Eldoret so that we solve this problem for the next 50 years. The challenge that we have as Africans is that we do short-term things, and then we end up wasting resources over and over again on the same things. So the resolution we have is that whatever solution we provide, we make it a complete and a turnkey solution, so that for the next 50 years in Eldoret, we'll not talk about markets in the central business district. We can concentrate on the markets in the countryside, but as far as the town is concerned, we are going to resolve that. And we are also doing this. We are connecting the market with the improvement of the bus terminus. There is modern thinking called transit-oriented development. So we are going to build what we call a skywalk between the bus terminus and the market, because every market must be connected to some bus terminus. We want people to be able to shop in a place where the commodities being sold are also controlled. So we are going to have a quality control space within that setup, so that we can now link up with the national government initiatives like the county aggregated and industrial parks, the KIPES, and the EPZ, So if you see where our market is and where we are building the pipes, there is a road that connects them directly. And therefore, we'll need to build a bridge and provide for the flow of traffic across the bridge and for people as well. But as I was telling you, every design, we provide for parking for vehicles, but over and above, we want the experience of a pedestrian to be a good experience as they walk our roads. And therefore, that calls for the improvement of our traffic management. And we have several reports on the flow of traffic. We have what we call local physical development plan, which was supported by the national government. We have a regeneration plan. We have a spatial plan for Eldoret, and all these things have given us proposals on how traffic can be controlled in our town. For example, as we are improving the bus terminus, we are also improving Moy Street so that we rechannel the flow of traffic in such a manner that all the traffic that goes into the bus terminus moves seamlessly. Remember, we have a highway that cuts through our town, which is a disadvantage and an advantage at the same time. But they say in life, when life gives you a lemon, you make lemonade out of it. So we wish to make a lemonade out of it. So as much as we are going to create a walkway across the highway, we are also going to improve on the infrastructure that we have. And one of them is Moy Street. Moy Street is one of the widest roads in our town. Moy Street is actually one of those roads on our town where you can access Swahili dish, you can access fish at Tagore market. There are so many things going on. There is a market for clothing and for curtains and all sorts of stuff. And we want to take advantage of that. Now, there is something else that I would probably want to just mention. The issue of on-source revenue. I think you're aware that there are elaborate procedures to ensure that we raise the revenue. Actually, according to the control of budget, Eldoret's on-source revenue potential is 3.5 billion shillings. Right now, we are collecting about 1 billion shillings. That means there is so much that must be done. And of course, for the residents of Eldoret, this requires your participation and your support. I remember last time when the valuation roll was being launched, there were so many complaints, like the rates are being increased and so on and so forth. It is very interesting, and I find it really, really, really tragic, the kind of thinking that we have sometimes. If, for example, your rates are going up, what does it mean about the value of your land? Does it remain where it was? It means the value of your land has gone up, and therefore it means that nothing has really increased. In fact, if anything, you are a greater beneficiary of that. Because when we value your land, and we find that instead of its value being, say, 50 million, it's now worth 120 million. It means with the valuation, you can actually walk to the bank and take 120 million shillings, which you can use to develop the land or do other things, right? Because what can you not do with that kind of money? Look at it the other way. If you have land that is worth 120 million, but the valuation says it is 50 million, is it an advantage or a disadvantage? It's a disadvantage, isn't it? So there is something called land value capture, which we are going to use as part of the revenue sources for our municipality. It is an international and time-tested approach to revenue collection and revenue raising, and therefore we also want our people. And we raised a notice on the 24th of February, and we said all those people who own land within the CBD which have not been utilized are going to be reprocessed through the processes that are available in law. Because you cannot have premium land in the middle of our town that you are not developing, and yet we have other investors who are ready to put in the money. That is really very simple and very basic logic. That you cannot have an asset that is of national value and the people of this country are not benefiting from it. You must build a structure so that we can have offices, we can have businesses, and as a county, as a municipality, we can also have revenue. And for you as an investor, you can get rich because we want rich people. We want people to make wealth, to create wealth out of whatever they have. It is part and parcel of urban economics. You have seen situations where we have maize growing in the middle of town. It is okay, it's private property. But honestly, a housing estate would give better returns for a situation like that. And you can only do a housing estate if you have proper valuation of your land, and therefore you are able to go to the bank and borrow some money and do the development. So we have that intention to raise the revenue at the municipality of Eldoret and in the county of Uasin Gishu. That is what we call on-source revenue. Let me end by mentioning three vices that in Eldoret we are trying to address and which we need to address. And I know they are not just vices in Eldoret. They are vices in urban areas in Kenya. Number one is bribes. You are a business owner. You're supposed to pay for a license. You fail to pay, and so the enforcement officers come in. Okay? So instead of paying for the license, you decide to buy them lunch. Kuleni lunch, wachana na hii maneno. And so throughout the year, they come 10 times or 15 times. And each time, you give them 3,000 shillings. So at the end of the year, you have actually paid 45,000 shillings. Maybe when your license is only 15,000 shillings. That doesn't make sense to me. So we must stop bribery. Go to the county government, negotiate, tell them, I cannot pay this one off, I can pay it in installments. I mean, that makes sense. So that's a vice we need to address as the people of Eldoret. Don't give money to an individual if no receipt is being given to you, being issued to you. Okay, that's vice number one. Vice number two is that of attitude. As a municipality, we are also in charge of garbage collection in our town. And so we have skip containers. In the past, we used to have litter bins. And recently, we are also attempted to install some litter bins. But what happened? They were no longer litter bins. I mean, litter means when you eat a banana, you can throw the peel there. That when you buy something, you've unwrapped it, you can put the wrapper inside, isn't it? If you have eaten a chocolate, you can throw the chocolate wrapping in there. Small things, right? But what do you see in Eldoret? A whole restaurant brings its garbage into the litter bin. And so 2-3 restaurants fill it up. The third one pours it on the ground. The fourth one pours it on the ground. Sooner or later, we have a dump site in the middle of town. And yet we have trucks which go around every day to collect garbage from premises. It's an attitude problem. It's a vice. Go to the places within the vicinity of the CBD, just outside the town. You'll find skip loaders, skip containers, empty. But all around it is garbage, is rubbish. I have never understood. I will never understand. It's like somebody walking into a toilet, then instead of going into the toilet to relieve themselves, they go behind the toilet. That is exactly what happens. I mean, there's no difference between that mindset and that of a person who would relieve himself outside the toilet instead of inside the toilet. But they have walked, by the way. They did not do it outside their house. They walked all the way. But instead of throwing the garbage inside the container, they throw it outside the container. It's a vice we must learn to address. It's an attitude issue. Lastly, a fairly controversial one, is that in Eldoret, and thank you, Dolly, for the very good presentation that you made. I think as civil society, you have been among the most, for lack of a better term, let me say you've been the most cooperative civil society. Because civil society is not about opposition. It's about guidance. It's about addressing issues that arise from time to time. There is no way you can have a human society that agrees on everything. Even in families, people disagree. So it's even worse when you're dealing with a government. A government is like an elephant. When it moves in one direction, sometimes it only realizes that it is the wrong direction, but before it turns, it still has to keep moving. Even when it has realized that it is wrong. It's still because of the mass, because of the size. So before it actually stops, there'll be so many damages along the way. And so it turns. And as it turns, it takes a lot of time. And before it finds the right direction, there are so many challenges that will have arisen. And this is part that we'd like the civil society generally to understand and appreciate and work with us and bring issues to the attention of government and the municipality in good time. Because our interest, I believe, is building a wonderful city. And it's our desire, actually, to build Eldoret as one of Africa's greatest cities, Africa's most beautiful cities. And therefore, the vice of natural opposition should also be addressed. We don't always have to oppose, things. Sometimes things go wrong, but we should learn to, address them without necessarily appearing to oppose one another. The gentleman called Omolo Dolly talked about River Sosiani. Let me address that very briefly. In the world, we have what we call hinterland cities. We have what we call riverfront cities. We have what we call lakefront cities. And then we have what we call harbor cities. These are cities which mostly develop because of harbor activities. Eldoret is a hinterland city. It's a hinterland city. But we are so privileged that we have a river that cuts through our town. So we'd like to take advantage of River Sosiani. And how do we want to do that? Professor Omolo here will tell you that he's been around since 1984 and he's written so many papers about Eldoret. And one of the things we'd like to do for River Sosiani is to use it to transform Eldoret into what we call a riverfront city. So we have a dream. In 2014, Professor Molo wrote a paper called Concept Proposal for Sosiani River Nature Park in Eldoret, was in Gishu County. So this is 2014. These are things that have been toyed around with for a very long time. But now, we think we are ripe to bring that dream to fruition. And what do we want to do? We are planning around River Sosiani to transform River Sosiani into the frontage of our city. We want it to be the center of life of our city. We want young men and women, we want families to fly from Nairobi into Eldoret to enjoy the vicinity of River Sosiani. And how are we going to do that? We are going to zone it, which is already ongoing, to plan it, to plan apartments, to plan shopping malls, to plan recreational activities on the river. And what are we going to do with the river? We are going to dredge it, we are going to expand it, we'll create recreational facilities on it, we are going to dam the water, we are going to create masses of bodies of water along the river, like 7 kilometers from around Sukunanga. It is a dream, but we are also already pursuing this with UN Habitat, and we are having a conversation around that. We have already given a few proposals to a number of interested parties. And we are going to do this as a long-term plan. It could take us 50 years to do that. But it must begin now. The planning must be done now so that the implementation can be done over time. All the major cities of the world that I know a lot of us have been to never fell from the sky. They were imagined by people, they were built by people. That is why we are doing development plans. That is why we have integrated development plans, which can then translate our vision into reality over time, so that those who come before or after can build on those who came before, so that we have a vision of a city that is going to be great, not only for us, but also for our children and our grandchildren, as well as our great-grandchildren. When we do that, then all those things that Mr. Dolly talked about can make sense. Why would an investor want to come to Eldoret? It has to be an attractive city. Why would anybody want to fly into Eldoret for a weekend? It has to have, attractions, not just bars that we have. I know of a certain famous bar in this town, which actually attracts people from as far as Mombasa. They only come here on Friday just to go and enjoy. Now imagine if we had several of that and additional attractions. We sit at a very strategic location. We have Kerio Valley just next door, 30 minutes away. We have Olduvai Gorge only 45 minutes flight away. We have Lake Victoria only 2 hours drive or 15 minutes flight away. We have the Eastern Congo forest in Uganda and Rwanda. And Eldoret can be the springboard for all that. So what we are saying is, we want to position Eldoret as a future city, as a futuristic African city. We want Eldoret to be the alternative to the city of Nairobi, because we have so many advantages. Food is not our major challenge. We have a lot of land to grow that. Space to grow is not our challenge, so it means we can actually develop world-class residential areas in this town. Industrial zones are available. What does Eldoret not have? What does it not have? Attitude, vision. And I think we are addressing that. And therefore, all the advantages, after having mentioned all that, all the advantages of becoming a city, don't they become obvious? And I think Mr. Dolly clearly elucidated on that, which I would like to welcome you all to share with us this dream, this vision, to transform Eldoret, not just to become a city by name, but to become a city in the attitude, in the opportunities that we create for our people, and especially our youth, also for the young and the old. We'd like Eldoret to be a great retirement place for people in government, for people who are weather beaten in Europe and other parts of the world, to come here, live here, spend their money here, and enjoy their retirement here. Thank you very much.
Asante sana Bwana Manager. I think you can see that it was timely and you are in the right place at the right time. Bwana Manager, asante sana kwa kukuja kwako. Na kuomba hivi, sio mimi ndio nimekuomba. Wameelewa kwamba timetable yako iko very timid. Wamekuomba wapatie tu madakika chache. Ukiendelea kukaa kwa hiyo kiti, huenda wangeomba wakuulize swali moja mbili, ndio ni kuruhusu uende wahudumie wengine. Just a little patience. I am caught in between. Njoo mzee. Njoo mzee. Mzee anaenda msikiti. Na ameomba kwa unyenyekevu sana. Aseme neno moja kwa nusu dakika. Sio ni afadhali? Si tumemruhusu?
Asanteni sana Bwana Chairman kwa kunipatia nafasi pamoja na wandugu zangu wote. Hatujamboni. Hatujamboni. Mimi kwa jina naitwa Kilo Hassan Amin na ninatoka maili 4 nikiwakilisha maili 4 Mosque Committee kama secretary. Kwa hivyo naomba Mwenyezi Mungu na nashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kuleta mimi hapa kuwasiliana na nyinyi. Jambo la kwanza, tunajua ya kwamba kulingana mimi kila neno ambalo tunazungumza ni inatokana uwezo wake Mwenyezi Mungu. Na tuombe Mwenyezi Mungu atukubalie ile mambo ambao sisi tunataka vile tunataka. Lakini tusiende nyuma ile maneno ambayo tunazungumza hapa. In any meeting there must be something very important which comes at the end of the meeting. That is implementation. Any meeting don't have any implementation, after all, is nothing. We all agree that one is. We all agree to that. The other thing is, tunazungumza maneno ambao Mwenyezi Mungu anapenda. Na tunataka hii maneno tumalize vile Mwenyezi Mungu anapenda. Wacheni kitu ambao inatumaliza au anatumaliza kila wakati Kenya nzima, dunia mzima, ni ile kitu ambao hatuna kitu inaitwa trustworthy kati yetu, ndani yetu. Jambo la Mwenyezi Mungu anapenda hatufanyi. Kwa nini? Hii mgonjwa lazima tuangalie, tutoe ndani ya nyumbani yetu, ndani ya ofisi yetu, ndani ni adui kubwa inaitwa corruption. Bila hiyo hakuna kitu kitafanyika. Maana mimi nikipewa contract mahali fulani, ni contract yani nini yake amwekwa, itakuwa 20 million. Sasa mimi nimepata hii contract na keti nazungumza hii 20 million sio ndio. Ukichukua 5 million sio mzuri kwako. Ndio, weka chini. And the contract ile itaonekana bila kufika ile muda amemalizika. Jamaa ameshaenda, contract inasimama. Katika nchi kila Kenya, katika Kenya nzima utakuta building kubwa inakaa namna hii. Abandoned. Ule jamaa ameshaenda. Na ule ambao amempa huu contract yuko hapa. He is also involved. Included. Manake kama hakufanya hivyo angeshika ile mtu angepeleka mahakama. Kwa hivyo tafadhalini let us not waste time for nothing here. Manake Mwenyezi Mungu utakuwa mbele Mwenyezi Mungu kesho, Mungu atakuuliza muda fulani uko hapa, wewe ulisingia namna hii. Okay, ulifanya kitu gani? Maana kama umefanya kinyume atakushika Mwenyezi Mungu kesho. Mwenyezi Mungu hapana mchezo, binadamu. Kwa hivyo tafadhalini angalieni sana hii maneno, hii mgonjwa, hii adui, tujaribu tutoe ndani nchi yetu. Asante sana.
Unaona hiyo words of wisdom kama angeenda nazo tungesikia wapi? Si tumheshimu mzee? Makofi. Tumruhusu aende kusali. Na ukienda kusali utuombee. Asante. Prof, you have your time to speak, but Prof ameomba to add on 1 or 2 things what the manager has said. Prof is the brainchild with the Prof Omolo here and your board, Omondi, of all that we are now going to achieve as a city. This is the brain that we cannot pay. Mombasa tunakaa paka saa 8 usiku, paka saa 9 usiku, kwa sababu asubuhi natakana report. Prof, sijui unataka kusema nini kwa hofu? Thank you.
What is good all the time want to first of all thank the organizers of this particular function. That it is always good to keep on reminding ourselves on where we are and where we want to go. What my colleagues have said is perfect. Allow me to not necessarily say why Eldoret should be a city or why it should not be a city, but allow me to say what are the benefits or what is the beauty of having at least promotion from a town status, a municipality, to a city status. Not necessarily looking at Eldoret, you could be even looking at Lodwar, you could be looking at another city, and so on. Now, what those members have said actually depicts on what people anticipate. But me, I'll only summarize them in 3 words. In 3 words by saying that from what they have been saying, which are these key issues for our cities? Sometimes you can talk of a city, and when you have a basket like this one, you don't know which is which. You will find that there are those big stones in that particular basket that we need to fix them. That basket of ours, which is now being called Eldoret or Lodwar, needs all those particular issues. That the moment, what they were saying, the moment you don't fix them, then you will always have a Simon Makonde city. Nasaliwa Monday, nakuwa baptized, and it dies on a yes, or it's buried on a Sunday. We don't want such a cities that will look like Simon Makonde because they never took care of everything. Some of the big stones will have been infrastructure. We have cities, but they don't have infra, which they have mentioned. There could be cities without the key issues that the people have in mind, which you are now going to say when you will have the plenary session. But even as you are talking of the big stones, you also don't forget the smaller ones, because they need each other. That you can have big stones and so on, but when the moment you don't have the smaller ones, like drainage, because of you have not looked at the gradient of the city, you will always have the repercussions. My friend said we will soon have a major town with a market that will at least be in town. Then I was asking myself, if we have that and we forget the smaller stones like traffic lights, the population will increase to the supermarket, to the market center, but when you don't have the big small stones like traffic, then the repercussions emerge. So all those things count and they play a major role. Cities usually are polluted simply because of the fact that we never took into consideration how we even put up our houses. Nikiingia kwa compound, mtu anajaribu kabisa, as much as you will use that toilet, lakini hawezi weka mbele ya entrance, it will be hidden somewhere, so as to minimize the pollution. In Kampala, when they were putting up the city of Kampala, wakasema, si boundary inafika hapo. So what happens after the boundary, nobody cares. Watu wakasema, hapana, siyo ni ya boundary ya city inafika hapo. Tuanze small informal settlement. So as you reach Kampala, you need to go through pollution, kwa sababu they never took care of the neighbor. So those are some of the things that they will be taking care of for the city to be sustainable. There are also those other things whom we are saying, this city is for who? It is for everybody. Now you have to integrate each and every person. Suppose they are not integrated, and I say, hiyo ni city ya Eldoret, but then the people are not part and parcel. So we are simply saying, in implementation, for long-term basis, let it be an inclusive city. So the moment you leave the big stones, sikiwachwa hapo nje, you will incur the cost. Because you will have sand, umejaza na sand, and when sand takes the space, alafu kuche na ile ingine nyekundu, by the time uweke ya yellow, the big stones mbili zitakuwa zimewachwa nje. So ukikutana na Menjo anaongea tu kumbe is talking of the big stone. Ukikutana na professor anasema kumbe it is the big stone. So Siane River was not taken care of. Ukikutana na my friend, I remember when I came here in 95, tukianza this business of walkway from Paul's Bakery, either you could have lost your life ukienda kununua mkate kwa sababu ya baiskeli imegongwa or not. Ndio wakati tuliweka non-motorized, now you can walk all the way to University of Eldoret, courtesy of the planning. Ndio naona if you don't take care of that, then you incur the problem. So we always say, as I conclude, let's look at our basket. Hii basket yetu, wenzangu amesema vizuri, how will it look like? Nani alisema advantages, akasema disadvantages, manager akaongezea, and this is what we are saying. All of us, let's look at all the big stones, the smaller stones, fix them. Once we fix them in the basket, tukitembea nasema hapa tuko city. Otherwise itakuwa kama ile city yetu ya Webuye, ulipokuwa unafika unafunika macho na mapua na unaanza kuangalia mwenzako, because the city is polluting. Thank you so much. Hiyo ingine mwenzangu atanisaidia when it comes to presentation. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Prof. Tumepata bahati kukuwa na watu kama hawa. You can see how much fuel they burnt to where we are. So thank you very much, Prof. I want to excuse the manager because he wanted to highlight those issues. We are talking of our city. Kabla jaenda. Now let's do this kindly. Kindly, let's do this. I know you are very organized people. Can we just take 3 questions for him? Because he's in a meeting. Yes, can we allow just 3? 1, Bwana Menjo. Number 2, who was number 3? A lady. Okay, 1, mkono ya kwanza, ya pili, you said you have an accident issue. Yako itakuwa ya 3, but yours will be a half a minute. Mkono ya 4, ya 5, ya 6, ya 7. Okay. Just 2, 3. The first 3. 1, and then the lady will be number 3.
Asante sana. Thank you very much for this brief opportunity. Sawa. Just you are consuming the same time again. We are trying to save. Asante. Nimesikia presentations ya watu wote hapa, yale wamekuzia mambo mengi mazuri, lakini tu for town manager there is a problem ya traffic menace in town. You get a traffic police stops the vehicles. The motorbikes, bicycles, they don't seem to know the law that they have been told to stop. They just go their way. They keep left, they give right. They don't have any law. That is one area which you need to address. 2, we require several crossings in all our public institutions, mashule, ama within the town. Kama watu wanataka cross, wana cross wapi? Wengine wanaenda paka roundabout, wanapanda juu, wanashangaa wanajua wanaenda wapi. Can we have all the zebra crossings stipulated? Yeah, designated areas. Not everywhere. Because at times when you want to join the road, unakuta mtu ako mbele hapo, anataka ku cross kwa sababu ajua ana crossia wapi. Let's have those organized. 2, park streets. Iko watoto wa mama wanauza vitu. Can we have these motorbikes not allowed to go there? They should not be allowed. Wanaenda speed as if they are on the racing track. Na ni park street. Na watu wamekaa chini, wengine wanafanya biashara zao. So these are issues which are small, lakini by the end of the day, it makes the town to be so disorganized. The other one, roundabouts. Why do you have structures ambayo mnajenga iende juu mpaka inazuia mtu asione the other side? You know, roundabout should be clean. Uweke tu, if decoration, weka vitu kidogo ambayo iende juu. Si atu mpaka unazuia until you block the traffic from the other end. Let it be open so that everybody, it is visible. Kama iko gari inakuja, mtu ambaye ana cross upande huu isisuiliwe and some of these structures mpaka anaweza gongwa kwa sababu hajaona, and it is a roundabout. Why all that? If it is one way, can you ensure everybody follows the law? Kama ni one way kwa mtu wa baiskeli, mtu wa pikipiki, mtu wa gari. Si one way kwa gari alafu nakuta wengine wanakuja the other way. That creates a lot of confusion. Inaonekana hatujui ni nini tunatakiwa tufanye. So these motorbikes, make sure you have training schools for them. Hii itafanya wawe orderly in their societies. Let them be trained so that they know what they need to do on the road. Si ati mtu aende hapo anunua a test 1 2 3 anabeba mtu saa hiyo. You know, these are things which they look so yes, because they don't know those basic highway codes. We require also this issue of security, right? You have mentioned. Can you ensure in residential areas, people are, they have started marking people in the evening hours. Residential places ensure they have these security lights, and of course in town, which you have mentioned. Street naming. You want visitors to come. Watajua which street wanaenda wapi. Yeah? Somebody wants to go to the bank. Maybe it is which street. The names are not there. Sasa watu wanauliza issues ambayo wangeona tu ni wapi wanaenda tu. But now they end up asking. So, mambo ya own source revenue collection. There are many ways you have to engage with the people. You engage with the people first, like the issue of the rates, which you wanted to, this valuation role. This is something we have to discuss with the rate payers. You don't just wake up from the blues and you just want to increase the way you want. Because there's one challenge which I have noted in this municipality. The titles, or the old titles which may be, they are no longer in the books. I mean, they are just in the books, but the plots have been subdivided and they have new titles. The old ones are still attracting rates, but they are not in existence. And you always say you have backlog of unpaid rates, but on all the blocks which are not there, you already have the small blocks, which are supposed to be the ones paying the rates. So you make sure, clean up your records. These old titles which are no longer in existence, they should not be there. Because at times they say you have a lot of revenue which people have not paid. But then you discover it is just in a backlog of all the titles which are not in existence. So that's something which I came to realize. It is giving you people a challenge. Lastly, the new buildings. You always insist on having underground parking. But how many of those buildings, when they complete, do they use the underground parking? They have converted again into businesses and supposed to be underground parking to reduce the traffic on the streets. So what's happening? I have so many issues, but let me just wind up for that.
Thank you very much. You know, I think he has asked almost across board. Tafadhali na waomba. Tuko na directors hapa. Kile angejibu, tuko hapa. We have the directors. They are the equal of him. We shall take each one's questions and we shall answer them pertinently, kindly. And we have all our team here. And each one of us has an answer to the question. Kindly. Yes. There was the second hand, and the third one, the lady. Who is the lady? Please come over. Who was the second? Which was the third hand? Okay, let's leave the lady.
Good morning. I think it's still morning. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and the coordinator. And I have 2 points. 1 point. According to the developers of the municipality, there are new buildings coming up. and we would really want them to put a strategic plan onto the new developers who want to develop in this town. There are some buildings that are coming back. They're coming up, but they'll come and destroy this building because you didn't adhere to this and this and this and this. We'd want structured plans given to these new developers who are building new buildings in town, so that these developers don't get the buildings don't get destroyed later on. Second thing, the market, retail and wholesale market here in Eldoret. They say that they're allowing some kind of reconstruction or whatever here happening here, and they push the traders to other markets, Kimumu and Bahati and all that. We're asking, please, can they put a structure plan on that too? Because the markets are overcrowded, they are dirty. Right now it's raining, and we're having all those littered stuff on the markets. Please allow the traders to have a structured plan that if they're going for 3 months, allow them to just plan the markets, the Kimumu, Kahoya markets first, before even allowing them to go and trade there. Thank you so much.
One question. Just one. Even if there are 10, just ask one. Thank you.
Yeah, asante mwenyekiti. Kwa majina yetu Martin Shikuku. Ningependa kuuliza jambo hili, maana tulisikia kwa mnenaji mmoja kwamba municipality ama walijaribu kutoa watoto wa street children. Mimi nikiwa mmoja nilifanya research nikiwa chini ya UG Children's Service Forum. Kuna aina ya watu wanne katika streets zote, sio wao peke yake. Wengi wazazi wao walikuja kwa hapa wakati ya pombe ya samani, walizaliwa hapa and they grew up. Ukiuliza kwao ni wapi hawajui. Baba yao ni baba walikutana kwa bar, wakazaana, hata hajui kama ni Mkalenjin, ni Mluya, Mjaluo, Lakini mnapokuwa na watoto wao wakuja kuzaa wengine wakiwa kwa streets. Na tunaona lazima tuweze kutunza watoto. Even katika sheria ya watoto lazima Children's Act interests are paramount. Mkiwatoa mnampatia nani kule nje? Kwali alisaliwa hapa, nyanya yake alikufa hapa kwa street. And iliona tu wengine wakatupa kule Kitale, wengine kana Pungoma, wengine sijika preka kwingine kule mbali. It's really bad kwa sababu they have nobody who defend them. Mnafanyaje kwa sababu ya hawa wameenda tayari, na wakiwa wadogo mkiwaona kwa street waulize vizuri, kama hawana wapelekeni shuleni wasome. Sababu iko chini ya social development grade goal 4, ambao kila mtoto kutokea nursery mpaka university mpaka aendelee mbele. Tafadhali muongeji yake kabla mtoa mtoto kwa street, find out the truth.
Thank you. Very important.
Thank you very much, Bwana Manager. My name is Gerard Mudaga Abudi from the Central Organization of Hawkers Association Kenya. Mine is just to comment on few issues you have raised and Mr. the man from civil society has raised. The question is, you are carrying out massive eviction of traders around the CPT, which we agree with you. Basically, on the ground that in 2002, the municipality enacted hawkers bylaws, market bylaws, which provide a framework on how traders should engage the municipality. Under that particular bylaws, we are a recognized entity to represent hawkers and traders in town, but no any other group of people that are engaging you. Under a point of review in 2006, we held a discussion with the management of the municipality and set up new terms and conditions, which give or regulate market, it regulate hawkers, it regulate lock-up shops. Under the new constitution, as embedded in the Urban Areas and Cities Act, Part 8 of the transition provision, subject to Part 3 and 1, we did reviewed the regulation on hawking to assert in the management of the county under the new legislation administration. So at this particular point, we do agree with you because each and everybody had come on a street to become a hawker. Big business operators had made themselves street vendors on each and every street of Eldoret. When you do this particular removal, we want you now to open an avenue for each and every representative organization to present to you the authorization, resolution, enabling them to engage the county management. Because at this particular state, we had also made a review of those regulations by presenting them to the county assembly, which enacted in 2021. By 2022, we wanted to have a meeting with the management, but the same meeting has not taken place. Just 1 minute. As we are moving forward, the question is, how will you now enable us have sittings with you to address that issue of hawking, to allow us carry out vetting and identification of genuine hawkers?
Okay, thank you very much, Bano Manyala, and thank you very much, members, for your questions. I truly and humbly appreciate those questions. Let me start with Mr. Menjo's issues of concern. On most of them are actually around traffic management in town. I think I mentioned that some studies have been done on the flow of traffic and even how we should manage our streets and which streets are supposed to be one way, which ones are supposed to be allowed to be two-way. We have those recommendations. It's just that we cannot implement them between now and the Devolution Conference because of one major issue which you did not raise but is very critical: the standard and the quality of our enforcement officers. It has been a big challenge, and somebody said they need to be trained, and we all agree 100%. In fact, starting next week, we are going to have a fresh set of uniforms for all the enforcement officers in town. You know, yule mzee aliongea juu ya, I called it bribery. He called it corruption. Because, you know what we don't realize with corruption and bribery is that it condemns everybody. It condemns the giver and it condemns the receiver at the same time. And it's something we really need to stop. If somebody walks into your shop, anakuambia in enforcement officer, anakuuliza hii, anakuuliza ile, you don't even ask for evidence or proof that they are actually legitimate enforcement officers. You give money. So many people have been conned in this town, and they are being conned every day. The enforcement officers who are stopped some times back, they are still marauding our streets, extorting people and taking money from them. But our people are so willing to give money. I think we have a corrupt mindset. No, sorry. But I think generally all of us are so willing to give money to escape a problem. Let's face, if it's a problem you've not paid for a license, for example, what is the worst that can happen to you? I mean, you'll eventually pay. But I'd rather you are too hard on those guys and eventually pay the legitimate pay points than to give a bribe. That one is bad. So the traffic control issue has been a big problem, and we are coming up with a new set of enforcement officers to address this issue of border. It is a menace. It is already out of control. But you know, always remember, there are so many sides to these things. We have the economic aspects, the empowerment of the people, but we have the menace and the nuisance aspect. And you know, we have the political side of things. All these people are here, support politician A or politician B or politician C. And it becomes a problem. I don't want to go deeper into that. So the railway crossing, the zebra crossings, I agree with you 100%. In fact, let me not be too ambitious, but let me say, as part of the work that I promise, we are going to improve the drainages and the work and the pavements in our town. part of it is also to enact barriers along our streets so that people can only cross on designated crossing points. You know, right now in Eldoret, people cross from any point, anywhere. If you are on Uganda Road, for example, if you stand in the middle of the road, you will see people crossing everywhere, everywhere. That is not a modern city. That's really a very backward environment. So I totally agree with you, but I can assure you we have plans towards that. To ensure that we mark zebra crossings, we get motorists to respect zebra crossings because pedestrians have the right of way on zebra crossings. In Europe, someone can stand on the zebra crossing, and as a motorist, there is nothing you can do. You are supposed to be quite a distance from the zebra crossing. Atapita na wewe, si ndio? Now that is a problem. But it is our mindset again and our culture. You have talked about that issue of motorbikes in the back lanes. I agree with you. I wish you had raised this earlier because the meeting I'm going to is also discussing these issues because it's the devolution conference and we have the Council of Governors present. That is why you'll allow me to rush for that meeting. The roundabouts and the clear view, that is well noted. It's also a concern to some of us, but we'll address it. You notice that sometimes a certain investor comes and they say, I want to maintain this roundabout, but allow me to display my brand, in the roundabout. Then they end up building something that is obstructing the view because a roundabout is very clear. In Europe, roundabouts are marked on the ground. They are not physical things. So that roundabouts in Europe are mental. They are not physical. That is how advanced they are. So they simply put a big mark point on the ground and then they draw. Then you should know this is a roundabout. You are supposed to know it's a roundabout and adhere to the traffic rules controlling around, roundabouts. But for us, we still see a physical roundabout, but we do not even know who has the right of way in the roundabout. Now, that is not a municipal problem. That is a Kenyan. That is a Kenyan thing. That is a Kenyan thing. We need to address that. Yes. We are. By the way, we are. We are. Yeah. By the way, just give us time. Give us time. You'll see a lot of amazing things coming up in this town. Just give us time. And you see, we'll work with you. You see, we are very early in the political scene. So we'd like to do as much as we can as early as now. Because some of those things will not be popular, but we have to do them because it's the right thing to do. So that we can deal with the challenges that arise, in the next few years before the next elections. Now, security lights, I think I've elaborated on our plans for that. We would like to light this town. We want Eldoret to be the most well-lit town in Kenya and possibly in Africa. And I'm telling you the truth. Just watch and pray for us because we have good plans. You've talked about street naming. I agree with you 100%. We've had a consultancy, not only on street naming in terms of the physical names, but also in Google. By the way, we have named most of them in Google, so that if you want to be guided by Google to a particular street in Eldoret, right now, to a very large extent, you'll be able to be guided. But that project is not complete. It is an elaborate project on addressing. It's called street addressing. So we did it in Kapsoya, and we came to some sections of town. So what we'd like to do is to roll it out to the rest of the municipality, so that anytime you have your phone and you've been told you're supposed to go to Tairimbili, Google can actually take you correctly to Tairimbili or any other place for that matter within the municipality. So we've already thought about that. We've already piloted it. It has succeeded. So we just need to roll it out. The other thing is council's revenue. I agree with you. It's only that when we brought the proposal for public participation, people got annoyed So we did not even do public participation. So we hope we'll work with you this time, you people, everybody, this time to ensure that the valuation role is, you see, public participation is an integral part of the Constitution and the law. In Urban Areas and Cities Act, it's called Citizens Fora. So there are a number of occasions we invited people for Citizens Fora, but they don't turn up. So we think we need to change strategy. We used to go to the villages within town. We'd go to Kapsoya, we go to Huruma, but now we think we need to invite sector-specific, people to come to our hall. Then we have a conversation around some of these things. Citizen participation is very critical. It is very important that every decision that we make is made by the people. We don't have the power to make any decisions. We only implement what the people of Kenya want as guided by the Constitution and the law, which gives us the offices that we have. So we are actually servants of the people. And we can only operate properly if we work together. If we are able to consult, if we have a mechanism to be able to reach out. We intend to develop an app, to be rolled out. Maybe we'll call it My City, My Pride or something like that. So that if you have it on your phone, ukifika pahali, upate kuna sewerage imepasuka, piga picha, it will escalate. Itajua, hii inaenda kwa nani, inakaa muda gani, ikichelewa inaenda kwa nani, itaenda mpaka ifikie hata governor if we fail to act along the way. So we'll do that and ensure that we are able to get feedback. Rates on all blocks, I agree with you. What happens, Banamenja, is that somebody has a piece of land. Without consulting us in the county, he goes ahead, subdivides, and sells. Okay, so subdivision, selling, we are not aware. Okay, it's only until you get there, unapata hii shamba ilikuwa eka moja, sasa imekuwa plots 16 or something like that. But the original title is still there. The only title that we know is the other title. Hii ingine wameuza, wameandika, wamesign agreements, but they have no titles. Go to Munyaka if you want to go to Silas and those other places. Those are the challenges that we are having. And these are the things our people also need to learn. That nobody denies you the right to subdivide and sell your land. But by all means, do it formally. Do it the way it should be done. Because eventually, if we don't do that, we'll create a slum environment in our town, and then we will create congestion that is unwarranted. And then the county loses revenue. And yet, I don't think those people who buy land have any problem paying the rates. They don't have a problem. But now, if the title is one, it means as the mother title owner, you're supposed to be paying those rates. So that is one of the challenges that we face. The basement parking. We understand that some spaces in our town are so small that even if you put up a building, you cannot do a basement parking. Although I did not get your question, but let me put it this way. We are encouraging people to do buildings which have basement parkings. A lot of these things are about enforcement, and sometimes enforcement requires time. It requires planning, it requires strategy so that we are able to, because you can only do so much. There is a lot you cannot do at one go. What we don't allow is people to do business in the pavements, in the basements, because it's not safe for them. It's risky, the air is not sufficient, and also in case of fire or an accident, things would be a big problem. The lady did not mention her name, but you talked about new buildings and plans. Let me assure you, madam, that every building that you see coming up in town must go through an approval process. It is a requirement of the law. If you know of any that has not gone through that, please let me know. We'll bring it down. On the markets and the planning, I totally agree with you. But we have people called market masters. We also have market committees. They are supposed to plan their business people in the markets. We know they are having certain challenges, and we have intervened. I'm sure you know Bahati, Kimumu right now, has some semblance of order in the last few weeks. And we are going to approach all the others in the same way. But our biggest priority right now is to build the market at the CBD. That's why I was telling you, we are at a very advanced stage in designing, and we are going to host between 8,000 and 10,000 traders. And that market will have cold storage. Cold storage for meat, for fresh produce and for anything else that requires preservation. We are going to have those facilities there. Like I said, it's going to be a modern market. In fact, it will be an ultra-modern market. Martin Shikuku, street children. Where's Martin? Martin, you've not been in town. I think you just arrived. I think you've been in Kara, Nairobi. No, you've been traveling. That is okay. My point is, you are raising issues that we have already addressed. We have a rescue center. We are also building a rehabilitation center for drug addicts and those people who need to be rehabilitated to learn trades and crafts that they can be able to help them support their lives. As for the children, we have taken them to the rescue center. We are feeding them. We are clothing them. We are treating them. We are educating them. And that is what we are doing. For the young men, we take them there. We also rehabilitate them. Some of them decide we want to go home, and they go. You're talking about things of 1904 that some people are taken to. No, that's not true. Lately, that cannot happen. Only volunteers are taken. Only those people who say, I come from Kitale, please take me there, are actually arranged and taken to their homes. He's an eyewitness, is a false eyewitness. Gerald Mutava, Central Organization of Hawkers, massive eviction of traders at CBD. There is no such a thing as massive eviction. We are only telling people to be orderly within the CBD. The issue of hawkers and markets bylaws, all the bylaws of the defunct Municipal Council of Eldoret are laws of the Municipality of Eldoret today through Section 56 of Urban Areas and Cities Act. So they are still in force, even to date. You talked about review in 2006 on hawkers regulations and sittings in the municipality. Now, where is this boss of, where is Gerald? Yeah, Gerald, our office as a municipality is at Social Hall. Kuja huko. Kuja tuongee, we fix a date, and then we have a conversation. And you know that is why we exist. Eh? Now, you're complaining and you've never been there. If your complaint was genuine, ungesema nimetafuta ofisi zenu, just have a seat. Nimekosa. Nimekuja kuwaona, mkakataa kuniona. We are there. We are available. In fact, for your information, the law requires us to meet every quarter under something called Citizens Forum. It must happen at least once every quarter. So, there is no way we can fail to meet you if you really have an issue to raise with us. And for your information, all the issues that you bring to us form part of the deliberations of the board. And on that note, let me introduce Winnie Maru, also a member of our board and the chair for Environment Committee in the board. All those issues will find their way to the board. And we discuss and deliberate on everything. And we make recommendations where we need the intervention of the county executive committee, that is the governor and the waziris, the cabinet. We write a letter to them. We write a cabinet paper to them, which is presented, and decisions are made accordingly. I assure you that we are working so seamlessly that we just need the participation of citizens. We need your participation on a continuous basis. Now, there's another question from Mr. Ken Ruto. What are you doing to address lack of traffic lights in Eldoret? As part of the elaborate process that I told you, where we are going to do street lighting in all the places I mentioned, the power generated from that plant also will do two other things. It will light the traffic signals in our town during the day. It will also power public offices. So the county governor's office, the municipal offices, and all other offices which are public will be lit using this. And we've done what we call cost-benefit analysis. Right now in Eldoret, we pay about 400 million on street lights a year. 400 million. And yet, we are paying for only 2,000 street lights. That also, of course, includes power in buildings and other areas. But if we are able to pay less than like 300 million shillings a year, we can have 10,000 street lights on across the municipality. We can have municipal offices, we can have county offices supplied with green power, throughout the year. That kind of process will recover the cost of investment in about 5 years. And then for the rest of the time, we are enjoying power that is 100% available without having to pay anything. So it is something that we are working on. On the issue of signages, let me refer you, who is this gentleman called Ruben? Right, Ruben. Please, I'll give you my mobile number. I'll forward to you the law that governs this. I think that is the best way of addressing your challenge. In terms of the size and the type of signage that is required, it's provided for in county law, outdoor advertising law. So I'll forward that to you, okay? You'll interpret it. You'll help your clients to design the right signages for all buildings. And by the way, the law does not necessarily allow every business to have an advert or a signage. No, adverts are limited to the size of the building, where the building faces, and other considerations which have been provided for in law. So you'll also help us accordingly. Direct number PRO for license on your advert, yes. What we'll do, by the way, when somebody comes to your office na anajaribu kukuextort, we have requested people to have CCTV cameras. Alafu unapiga hii picha tu pole pole. We've also requested people to take videos on their mobile phones. Hata piga picha huyo mtu tu. Tusaidiane. Because these people are tarnishing the image of the county. They are really messing us up. So let's cooperate. Yeah, we have over, over time. By the way, when corruption is tolerated, over time it feels legal. So if yes. 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 Yes, that's true.
so that iweze kusaidia watu kuweza communicate, because now if you make good decision as you are saying now, to disarm about the council askaris, tumeelewa the problem that we see outside there as a human rights institutions, they are the same problem that you are going through, Titus, in your office, but now we are not communicating.
Yes.
So the issue is that wachukue hizo magari, for example, waende, let me give an example, Kidiwa. Waambie watu wa Kidiwa, what you are doing bad, kuna drainage hapa na mnamwaga takataka kwa hii drainage. What you are doing is not right. You are supposed to do this and this. Okay, me as a town manager, we are planning to do this and this in your estate for your own good. So that kukuwe na hizo vitu za, but now you see when people are pushed without information, hata si pia tunaona violation of human rights is being done.
Yes.
This is what we call the human rights based approach practice.
Yes.
That sometimes I feel bad. Huwa nakutana na wamama watoka Kiplombe huko na Managwe na hizo mboga na nini. Then you ask yourself, okay, we move around the country. Huyu mama kuuza tu mboga kidogo, kanjo amekuja amechukua. Ameenda nazo. Huyu mama hakuwa na kitu kingine. You know, most are mothers.
Thanks,
so I know it becomes painful. But my point was this. Try to use your resources that you have to communicate to the resident.
Yes,
Waambie through those vehicles. Wakati wanasema lipa rents, wanaambia pia mkilipa rents, lakini pia tungetaka kufanya 1, 2, 3, so that you by so doing, engage with many people and you shall have no confrontation.
That's noted, Mwangi. Yes. Thank you very much for your piece of advice. I assure you, I've told you that the municipality has a lot of support from the executive right now. And we are going to do all these things. You know, if we compare the current municipality with the defunct one, we are still a long way to coming close to the kind of services they used to offer. But we hope to be there. However, we are still working with so many departments, whether it is trade or public works, you know, and roads, whether it's urban. We are still trying to work together as we build the institutional capacity and capability of the municipality to deliver all the services. But that is very well noted. Somebody has said, kindly address the issue of safetiness, need for emergency hotline numbers. I don't know whether you are aware that we've set up a call center in Kapseret. We have set up a call center where all complaints of any kind and compliments as well can be channeled. I think very soon we are going to release the number. We'll advertise it on our LED screen so that everyone can know when they have an issue, where do they call. When they call, those calls are recorded electronically, and they are also noted for action. Then they are channeled to the departments which are supposed to address those issues. So we are making some progress with regard to that. And I think that also answers an earlier question on the PRO, the gentleman who was talking. Yeah, so the municipality is also going to have a desk right there in the county government. Kindly, how is the ICT set up in support of our city? I've just told you that we have set up a call center. That is one. Number two, the municipality has just developed a very interactive website where you can actually lodge even your complaints. In that website, they'll be taken up by us. You leave your message there, we'll pick it up, we'll get back to you on any issue that you'd like us to address. So what we are trying to do is to be as interactive as possible between the citizens or the residents of the town and ourselves, so that we have your issue. Of course, we'll not be able to address everything, but we'll be able to at least get you to know exactly where we are in terms of addressing whatever issues that keep arising from time to time. The other point is generally in terms of the information systems is that the GIS lab that the Department of Urban has been hosting is being transferred to the municipality. That GIS lab will host all the spatial data of the municipality. It will be used by the entire county and the municipality as well as Eldoret to manage all the infrastructure, whether it's water reticulation, sewerage reticulation, our roads, our street lighting, our drainages. All that will be available in that GIS lab to ensure that we are able to respond to information-based issues that keep arising from time to time. I think I have responded to all the questions. Yes. Yes. Yes, let me do that right now. Exactly. Thank you very much. Yeah, you know, one day somebody asked a question. We were in a boardroom meeting and they asked, what do we mean by the city of champions? Okay. And somebody said, there was a debate, but then somebody said, our being champions is more of a mental issue than a physical issue. So we are champions up here. Okay? And let me explain. We are political champions. The President of the Republic comes from here. Our chairman of the board the other day was elected as the chairman of the caucus of chairmen of municipalities in Kenya. The president of the Institute of Surveyors of Kenya comes from Eldoret. The president of the Architectural Association of Kenya comes from Eldoret. The president of the sports athletics comes from Eldoret. General Jack Tuwei. Now, we are also champions in terms of business. And by the way, the sooner you appreciate these champions, this champion mindset that we have, the better for you. Stop comparing yourself with others. Because the entire business community in Kenya thought that the best leader to lead the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry was somebody from Eldoret. So last night, the president of the Chamber of Commerce, the national president of the Chamber of Commerce, hosted a dinner. Unfortunately, I did not attend. My colleague here attended. She will probably tell us what transpired there. But Dr. Ruto is the president of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. He comes from here. And then crossover now to champions in athletics. The lady who broke 3 records, was it in 2 months or 1 month? In 1 month. Comes from Eldoret. Kipchoge Keino, the legendary man, comes from Eldoret. Moses Tanui. Kipchoge Jr. That list is so long you cannot exhaust it. So, yes, I've mentioned that. So we are actually truly the city of champions. And let me tell you why we are also city of champions. And by extension, I'll respond to your issue. I have come to one conclusion. If we approach the people of Eldoret the right way, we will go very far. I'll give you a very simple example. Early in the month of, late in the month of June, we met the hawkers around Paul's Bakery to Union Primary School. We had given them time to, do their business there. But now we agreed that they had messed up. They were putting up molds of soil, they were putting up structures, they were generally changing the place. So we told them, now you're overstaying our generosity. And we think whatever we had agreed 2 years ago, and we've given you 2 solid years to operate here, we think you need to go. And they said, give us time. Until when? 23rd of July. Let me assure you, on the 24th of July, there was nobody in that space. Because we had a conversation, we agreed, and we passed the resolution. And those people just stayed away. No rungus, nobody walking around, not even our askaris walking around. So I truly believe we are champions in so many ways than one. Because we are able to sit, discuss, agree, and make a resolution and move forward. So, apart from the market that we are building, we have people who do, garages, they repair, and so on. We have plans for them also. We have 3 acres around railways that we were given by railways because of the rates that they had for a long time. And we are going to build garages, but a state-of-the-art sort of thing. In fact, it's going to be a beautiful thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me at this point to allow me to end there, because let me at least appear in the meeting so that we'll interact again. Those of you who are not from Eldoret, please welcome back. Live here. Ishi kwa hii town. This is a beautiful town. Very amicable people, very friendly people, a wonderful place to live in, the best climate and everything that goes. Thank you very much.
As we send him off, can we clap for the manager? Mr. Manager, as you are standing, I want to correct something so that it does not go on record. One of us said, I will write a letter to come and see you. That office is yours. And you are the people who give us the agendas to discuss. Today, all he has written here are agendas for us to go and discuss. The more you will be available in that office, the better for us to get agendas of what to discuss. Kindly, can we appreciate him? Thank you. On that note, I know we cannot finish. His number.
0722 392903. 0722 392903. You can text, listen, you can text, you can WhatsApp, you can also call. But if you call and you don't find me, you can always text. We always respond to all, but that's a personal number. Siku ile mnasikia mmetoka kwa ofisi, mtafute the next person.
Tunamtakia heri akue kwa ofisi ama toke. Akue kwa ofisi. So thank you very much, Bwana Manager. Now, on that note, with respect to our directors of the board, these are your people who represent you. I want to give them room to greet you. Fortunately, there are two here. We are now three. Madam Winnie is here. If somebody is asking for the number, I assure you, she is the resourceful center of our interest in the board. Madam Winnie, as also Director Walter Ayot walks forward, you can't talk behind your employers. These are our employers. Madam Winnie. Yes, I'm saying this because I have got the notice from the hotel. We are supposed to be out. Another team is supposed to be here. So that's why I'm just requesting. Let's hear from, 1 minute each.
In fact, I'll take 30 seconds. My name is Winnie Maru. I'm a member of the board representing the private sector. I chair the Environment Committee, and let me take this opportunity to apologize for coming in late. I had to pass through some county office, and they took long, just as expected. Thank you, bye.
You can see the quality of your directors. Director Ayot.
Good afternoon to you all. My name is Walter Ayot. I'm a board member. I represent the informal sector, Juakali. I'm the chairman of Gishu County Juakali Association. By extension, I'm the chairman of the sports culture. We really welcome you, and we are happy with the idea was brought here. Will form part of our agenda. Without much ado, I say thanks to you all.
Thank you. I know the order. You have to say who will say a vote of thanks. Before that. No, we have reacted on everything.
Asante sana. Briefly, nikiwa hapa niko na team ya 64 Residents Association, because this is about Kera. So it is good also to know that we have a Residents Association in town. I've been the 64 Residents Association. I'm the current chair, but there are people who are active in the office. I want that team to stand up so that you because these are the people you have to link up with. 64 Residents Association, please. Bwana Lele is here. Bwana Kwambai, who is the secretary. Bwana Mburu, treasurer, I think. Mwaniki. So this is a team. We are working with the Residents Association, pushing most of these issues together so that not all the time I'm seen to be, loading over everybody. So thank you very much.
These are my team. I hope each one of you must go with my number. You are my key persons. Thank you very much. Kindly, for the sake of the institution, tukaribishwe next time. Kila mmoja wetu angependa kuongea, lakini nilichukua hiyo nafasi tuulize hizo maswali across board. What we have spoken today, sir, I request that at the close of the year, kindly, these people are thirsty of your presence. If you can make another one stopover, it will be good for us. So, on this note, kindly let me return back to the CEO. As I return to the CEO, let me also thank you so much for your discipline, for your calmness, for your unity, for your love. And I want to assure you, Kara, sisi hapa, Bwana Menjo, I know the next 1 month, he's going to be crying. Hakuna pale ya kuweka mahindi. Sisi hapa, mahindi, hatujui tutaweka wapi. Kwa hivyo sufuria hakuna. Sisi hapa, ngano hatujui tutaweka wapi. Menjo supposed to be telling us. Because cereal accommodation here is less than what we are going to harvest. So, sir, this is who we are. Karibu, these are your people. They have just come to represent the many others. Thank you.
Asante sana Bwana Manyala. Let's give him a clap, please. I think he's done a good job, and I don't want to take much time because, in my view, we've met the objectives of why we came here this morning. And I know there's been a lot of interaction, kumekuwa na maswali, and I'm happy that we've had an opportunity to just give our views. And of course, listen to our speakers here. I'm happy that there's a strong resident association here. I want to say that by the time I'm leaving here, I want you to come on board as very strong and active members of CARA. Like I said, I know we've been working very close with Bwana Manyala, but I want as many of you as possible to be part and parcel of this movement. It's actually a movement that is geared towards making sure that we get value for our taxes. We get value in terms of service delivery. And ultimately, we live a life of dignity in our neighborhood. Because if you don't take charge of your neighborhood, at the end of the day, things will happen that you'll not be happy about. But it's because you sat back. You didn't step forward to say, this is my responsibility, I'm taking charge. So ladies and gentlemen, I'll give my card to some of the officials I've seen here. And of course, if you need to get information more about how to become a member or how to do that, how to, the process, our number, please write the number 0725 983 445. If you call that number and you say you want to know more about how you can form a resident association, how you can manage a resident association, how you can become a member of CARA, how you can address your service delivery issues at neighborhood level, you will be assisted immediately. And we'll be happy to talk with you and even direct you or give you guidance on how best you can be able to address and respond to your issues. Otherwise, I believe that the topic of discussion today was very timely and was very necessary because we have to prepare for what is coming ahead. And that is the city status that we're going to embrace. I'm happy that you're already a city of champions. I've had so many presidents being mentioned here. I was wondering, kwani nyinyi mko na all the presidents? Si mgawaji zingine? But that shows that there's something unique about you. That shows that you are a city of champion indeed. And with the coming city of Eldoret, maybe it's just a matter of time before Eldoret become the best city, even better than Nairobi, depending on how you manage it and depending on how you receive it. So it's inspiring to see what is happening here. It's inspiring to see the kind of resource that you have and the kind of impact you're making in our society. And definitely, as CARA, we want to be part of that agenda and part of that conversation so that we can build synergy, we can work together and work together as people of this country and people who want to see better living standards for everyone across the country. So from CARA, asanteni sana, we are happy, we are grateful of the kind of discussion we have today. And I hope you've learned something. I hope you have something you're taking away. And not just taking away to go and sit on it, but taking away to go and use it to make a difference in where you are living, to make a difference in your neighborhood, in your county, and of course, in our country, Kenya. So I want to thank you very much, and we definitely will be coming back a lot more because we want to have these opportunities as frequently as we can so that we can be able to ventilate, we can be able to talk about issues, and of course, agree on what is the best way forward to address some of these issues. So I want to end at that, and of course, maybe request somebody to make a vote of thanks, at least one of you, and of course, a closing prayer. Manyala, you seem to want to talk?
No, I don't want to talk. Just to say a vote of thanks. Ndio, niko pale. Vote of thanks, and then one lady to close with a prayer.
My name is Willie Kwambai. I'm secretary to 64 Residents Association. Now, one, I would like to appreciate this forum. It is a very, very important forum, and we say thank you. I believe I speak for everyone who is in this room that we need to have many of these. In fact, when the town manager was talking about attitude, I think town management should actually look at itself, its own attitude towards the residents. I say this because the other day when signages were removed, destroyed, actually in a very inhumane way, it was not really necessary. Okay. Let's go for prayers.
Praise God. I'm so much happy to be here. I'm sorry I came up late because I was doing I was running some errands up and down there. Thank you so much for enlightening us on how we are supposed to improve our city, which is going to come up soon. And we really need to thank God for the opportunity that our city is going to be, this town is going to be transformed into a city. So we have to have prepared minds and exercise on what we are supposed to do. Praise God. Let us humble ourselves and thank God. Everlasting Father, we thank you for this hour. We bless your name, O God. Thank you, Lord, for the good plans that you have for our town, which is going to be transformed into a city. Lord, we pray for transformed minds, oh God, and strategies and plans that we may achieve the goals, oh God, that we have for our country. Lord, we bless our president, we bless our country, and we bless the whole leadership of our nation. Lord, we humble ourselves at your feet that you may take charge of our nation. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we have prayed and believed. Amen.
Make sure you shake two hands.